All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live on Facebook and the YouTubes. I say YouTube in French. YouTubes. I think that's more of a Borat. That's not French. That was Borat.
It is definitely
that was for
Borat.
sure Borat, not French.
Kazakhstani.
I like the YouTube. I don't know words.
We're off the rails already.
Either way, my name is Destin, Texas Garden Guy, and this is the Garden Party. This is the Garden Party. We want a garden party with you. We talk about the plants you grow and some things you might not know. The Garden Party. All right, Phil, take it off, buddy.
What up, everybody? It's your favorite plant parent and regular parent, Phil from Phil's Figs. If you guys don't know by my name, I like fig trees. Back on the podcast co-hosting. Yeah. Yes.
On the YouTubes. Always happy to have you, Phil, man. You are a lifesaver. I tell everybody when I do podcasts without Phil, it is so weird. It's like going to dinner with a different woman, you know? It's like it's like cheating on my wife. It's so weird.
It's called we're quantum entangled, so quantum entanglement.
We are quantum we are quantumly entangled. Oh my God. Well, we have our scientist. We have our unofficial third It's already starting. Dude, I don't know what it is. I turned my Wi-Fi off. I'm connected straight to the router. We're going to go with it, though. But anyway, we got our unofficial third member of the Garden Party, Miss Gardening with Des. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Des.
Hey, I'm Gardening with Des. I'm wearing some dragonfly earrings today because I just thought I was in the mood for it. I talk about bugs a lot on my channel if you're interested in that sort of thing, and squirrels.
Des,
gardening.
She's opening a squirrel sanctuary. You can give your squirrels to her.
I was thinking of Des earlier because I was cleaning out my office and I love these little books. And I know here in Texas you can find them like at HEB and they're right at the checkout aisle and they're like I think they're $6 or something like that, but they're laminated and they have like big guides with pictures. It's really cool for like the kids and stuff, and I love them because I can identify the birds like that are in my backyard. And so they have them for everything. They have it for like birds.
Yeah.
They got it for snakes. Yeah. They got it for freshwater fish, saltwater birds. And then I saw these and I must have bought two of them on accident, but it's a Texas
one.
But it's I'll give it to you when you come out for Fig Torfus. And so, and the first thing I turned to, I saw that tiger striped or that zebra longwing. And
zebra longwing.
That's the first thing I saw when I opened that up, and I was like, every time I see one of them butterflies, which I never see them in person, I'm gonna think of Des. So
that makes me so happy.
That made me think of you, Des.
Don't think of bugs when you think of me.
For all our listeners, you learn things on this show.
Well, sometimes, and we have a very special guest, and I met him through the Enoch has the Urban Gardener channel. He was on the People to Watch, up and coming people. He does that. He does a really good job of bringing on like newer like Instagram people and stuff like that. I think Phil's going to be on. I think he reached out to Des too. But I met him we were in the backstage. We were in the green room talking to each other before we got to go on. And his name is Ryan Cook with Heavenly Hills Homestead. And he grows big stuff. Well, you grow big fruits and veggies. I mean, you grow a lot of stuff, man. So go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Let everybody know where you're from.
So, well, I mean, you did a pretty good job of it right there. So, but my name is Ryan, and I got a Heavenly Hills Homestead. Grow tons of different giant stuff. It's just interesting to watch it all grow and take off. And this year wasn't that great. I think the largest one I got out there is like 500 pounds. So it's kind of meh.
But, that's a small. That's like save that for the front porch at Halloween.
I mean, it really wasn't even worth growing. I should have pulled the plant and just put cover crop down. You know, I mean,
Oh
it really
my
wasn't.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of fun doing it. The kids enjoy it. The neighbors enjoy it, except for some of the neighbors come in my yard when they probably shouldn't, try to take pictures of all the stuff, and it gets kind of annoying. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I like doing it. I like sharing it with everybody and trying to teach other people how to do it.
You could just
Yeah,
grow
man.
tiny houses with the pumpkins you grow. And you're like, oh, this will be a tiny house.
It really could. It could be.
Oh my goodness.
That's so
Yeah.
cool, man.
I went on Ryan's live stream and he had like a whole like WWE like intro for me. He was like, "This guy is down from Texas," and like I can't even duplicate it. But I was like, I gotta kind of step
I might
my.
still have it. I don't know. Let me see if it's
Oh, well, let me hear it. I mean, I don't like to stroke my own ego, but I really like the intro he did.
Oh, man.
Oh my
I don't know
goodness.
if I still have it or not.
Oh, you're good, man. Well, I wanted to bring you on because we had talked like we have all kinds of different gardeners and farmers from different locations, and you're out of West Virginia. And on the Enoch podcast, you talked about how you're all about growing big stuff, and you have how many world records? Like how many? Well, you have world records and national records, right?
State. I don't have any national ones yet. I got 38 state records, which is the most state records anybody's ever held at one time, which is a world record. And
But
then
that's
I have
Crazy.
You have a
My
world
first-
record for state records.
Yep. Yep. So
I love
That's
That's-
decent, man. That's
that's
sick.
pretty cool. That's
That's
kind
pretty
of
cool.
But my first world record was in 2021 when I first started growing giant stuff, and I grew the world record butternut squash at 83 pounds 1 ounce.
That blows
Oh
my
my
mind.
God.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
so
That's
that
like
was
insane.
you grew a yellowfin tuna. Like that's
yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh my
But,
god.
that was my first record, and then that same year I grew a state record sunflower head. It was 21 1/8 inches across. So almost a 2 foot wide sunflower head.
I'm
oh
tripping.
my gosh.
Which like it doesn't like when you say a 21-inch wide sunflower head, it doesn't sound that big, but that's not including the petals. That's just where the seeds are at, right?
So the way you measure it is from you got your ray petals, which is your yellow petals, and then you have the I can't remember the technical term, but the green petals behind there, right?
Mhm.
So you measure from tip to tip on the green petals.
Oh
across.
wow.
That's how you're supposed to technically measure them. So yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it was a big sunflower head.
You grew a satellite dish. Like you could
Right.
probably pick up some good channels with it.
It was massive. Like, and here's the thing: it was almost a state record for height too, because it was 15 foot.
Oh my god. That's,
Oh man.
Yeah,
that's like
and
three of me standing on.
right.
That's
So,
insane.
so you keep those seeds. Those are the seeds you keep, right?
Yeah. Yep. Those
And
are
then
the ones I
every
keep.
year you're like, which one's going to be the one that's going to do that again? Or
Well, I'll
bigger?
get other
And then-
ones now. I'll get other ones from other people that are, getting like 26 foot ones.
Oh my god.
They might not have the head on them on a 26 footer because they usually get small heads, but I'll crossbreed them to try.
I was
to
gonna
get-
say you could like crossbreed them.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, there's
Try
got to be
to
like
get
a
it.
forum. Is this a subreddit that I could go find, or like where you
Gotta be.
communicate with
Probably
these people?
not. You might be able to Google it and find something, but it's like a very niche thing. You can go on Facebook and find some groups on Facebook and stuff, but you probably don't want to do that. If you got any questions, just come ask me.
I'll stay out of it. I was actually thinking, I was driving around doing site visits for my job that pays my bills, a lot of my bills, and I was thinking like about figs and how to do that, but then I would have to caprify and pollinate them. Like, how do I get this guy like the biggest fig? I want him to set a record for figs, and if I could find that for you, I'll hook you up one day.
That'd be cool, man. Yeah, that would be very, very cool because I'd definitely try that out. If marijuana was legal here, I'd try to grow the biggest bud.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is
I
I'm
am
growing
only
the biggest
5
one
minutes
for
away.
medicine. It's for medicine.
Exactly,
It is.
right? I am only
Research
5
purposes.
minutes away from Virginia where it is legal. So, I mean, I could just hop, skip a foot over there and plant it. in the
Okay,
woods
so you're
somewhere.
like the southern part of West Virginia.
Yeah.
You said West. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah, it
people
only
don't know.
takes-
Like my wife's family is from Pittsburgh, and so West Virginia is like 30 minutes from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but it's also like 30 minutes from Southern Virginia, almost to Tennessee too. So it's like it's got some vertical distance to it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've been to Pittsburgh one time. I don't think I'll ever go back there. So
do tell.
no. No, don't want
Oh,
to.
look at that!
It was
pumpkin.
bad times, man.
So
Oh, no.
so Ryan, y'all see this?
Good
Ryan,
grief.
dude, look at that pumpkin.
It's
Yeah,
huge.
so
A Haas.
that pumpkin was last year's. It was 1,009 pounds is what it weighed, and it won the Virginia State Fair, and then it ended up winning the Howard Dill Award, which is the orange plaque there. I've got like 5 of those.
What does
Howard
that
Dill
award? What does that award mean?
for the prettiest pumpkin at the weigh off?
It's a
Is
beautiful
that
Wow.
orange.
orange? Look how
is.
vibrant that
Did
orange
you
is.
oil it? Wax?
No,
What is-
no, that's
Wow.
natural shine. Yeah, that's natural.
I say that's
Um,
probably cheating. You're probably not allowed to grease them up. I bet.
You're not allowed to put anything on the pumpkin at all. After you get done, guys wax them when they get done with them, but you're not allowed to have it. You got caught with wax on there, you get in trouble. It's a safety hazard for one thing, because when you go to pick the pumpkin up, if it's really slick, it can slip out of the harness and hurt somebody or whatever. But the other, it is kind of like cheating if you were to do that. Pumpkins like that have these fine hairs. All you gotta do is go out there with a micro cloth and rub it every day, like you're waxing it, and those micro hairs lay down and make it shine like that.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty neat.
Wow.
But
Hey.
that
And-
pumpkin
and-
was
ahead.
pumpkin was bought by Chris Long, the football player that played for
Oh,
the
nice.
Eagles.
Wow.
And I think I sent you a picture of me helping him float one of them down the river.
I'm having
Oh.
I'm having an issue trying to show that. That's I was trying to show the emails, and
Yeah.
I was having an issue getting it up there. That's why I went
It's
ahead
all
and
good.
yeah.
That's a great way to get a pumpkin moving. You just float it down a
Oh,
river.
yeah,
That's
man.
like
Right.
logging.
Well,
Well,
like
this
like-
white one's bigger, right? This one's
I
bigger.
no,
It was-
actually that white one was the plant was like July 23rd and was only like 2 or 3 foot long on July
Oh.
23rd, and then it just like took off, and I pollinated that pumpkin like August 8th or something like that, and it was like the fastest growing pumpkin I'd ever had at the time, and I thought it was going to keep growing and doing good, and then it just stopped. So it was only like 725 pounds.
Only.
Yeah.
Oh my
Only.
god. Well, and
Oh my
And-
god!
and how thick
Sorry.
does how thick does the stem get? Like it looks huge. Like it's
Yeah,
connecting.
that's big as round as my calf,
God.
but there's some of them get it big as round as coffee cans.
What is
Now, how
what
big is
the
the
orange
plant that
thing
you're?
on the stem? Sorry, I got so many questions. Sorry, Phil.
All right,
You're
Which-
good.
whichever one wants to ask first.
Let's
The
go
orange
first.
thing on the white pumpkin. Go back up.
Okay. I'm
What are you
getting
doing?
curious.
That orange thing right there on the stem. What is that?
Oh,
On the
that's a
big white-
pool. That's a pool noodle.
Yeah. What's
So,
the purpose?
So the vines, all right, the pumpkins grow so fast that the vines will start to get taut, and you have to put pool noodles on there and then push them forward, like push them away from the vines to try to keep the vines slack. If you don't, they will literally break off the vine. They will grow so fast that they'll
Yeah.
snap the vines off. So you gotta
Insane.
yeah.
How do we even figure these things out?
Oh my god.
Howard Dill did. He started growing them like in the 1970s or something or like that, and it took him like 30 years to get a 500-pound pumpkin.
What was the
Holy
inflection point that sent you on this path to growing the biggest stuff?
So
Yeah.
back you have to go back to like 2016. My
Okay.
dad had grown some field pumpkins, and they were the biggest field pumpkins I'd ever seen. I was like, "What did you do to these things?" And he's like, "Oh, I just gave them some Miracle Grow," and I'm like, "Yeah, right." So I sat down. Like at the time, we didn't know it, but at the time he would have had a state record because like they were 80 and 90 pounds. So I'm like looking through, and then I find these like I'm looking through Google, sitting on the porch with him. I'm like, "Dad, look at this," like these pumpkins are like 1,000-pound pumpkins. And he's like, "Oh, that'd be cool to grow." So 2017, we bought where I'm at right now, but we didn't move out here till 2018. 2018, I grew a little garden because we got moved out here late summer, And then 2019, my youngest son was born, and we spent 5 months in the NICU with him because he was born at 24 weeks utero. Her water broke at 16 weeks with him. So, yeah, it was like really rough. So, I didn't grow anything in 2019. 2020, I bought me and Dad some giant seeds off of Amazon, and those didn't do anything. I mean, he was lucky to get like a 50-pound pumpkin. Dad still beat me, but,
50 pounds is still huge.
Yeah. It sort of is, but once you see these things, you're just like, oh, that's a baby. So 2021, I reached like all of 2020. I watched nothing but like Chad New, who's a good friend now, and some other guys that was on YouTube, just trying to like figure out how they were doing it, right? And everybody got down to you got to get the right seed first, So okay. Yep. So I reached out to Chad New and Mikkel Hodge, and I got their seeds. And that year I grew a 908, a 1016, one that was measuring 850, but it ended up weighing like 950 pounds, but the whole bottom was completely rotted out of it. So it was over 1,000 as well. And then like a bunch of 200, 300, 400 pounders, and then another 500, almost 600 pound one. So I think I had like 10 pumpkins that year or something like that. All of them between 200 to a little over 1,000. Yeah. And so
that was the year. That was the year it set it in motion for you.
Yeah. That was 2021. And that was the same year I grew the butternut squash. Well, I had turned it in for a world record, and Guinness was taking a long time. And I kept asking these other growers, like, well, how come it's taking them so long to get my world record approved? And I kept going back and forth. And oh, we don't know. And the GPC, who is the governing body of giant growing things, nobody would really help me. Right. And they all knew I grew a world record. The problem is when I turned that in, it was October 30th, I think, or 31st when I turned it in. And the only place I had to weigh it, because there was no more weigh-offs left, was at the Up store, right? So it was on certified scales. I had 2 people there to verify it. I had a GPC representative on the phone, video conferencing, and then a horticulturalist who also grows giants. He was on a video too. And then I had a bunch of witnesses. I had a state trooper there. Everything I was told to have there, gosh. I had there to witness me weigh this in, right? I had all the witness statements and everything, turned everything in. And they were like, oh, we don't know why you're not getting it. So I was getting kind of frustrated. It come about May, I think. And I reached out to Kevin Forty, who has like 11 world records. And he lives over in the UK, which is where Guinness is from. And he's like, sign into Guinness and let's go through all your paper stuff. And I was like, all right. So I went through there. The problem there is they ask you if you're a male or female. And when you click yes, then they ask you, are you male or female again, plus all these other pronouns. Well, I didn't feel the need to say that I was a male again because I'd already said I was a male. So I didn't think that applied to me. Well, you have to click male twice. And so as soon as I hit click male twice, it loaded up. And he was like, there's your problem right there. We fixed it. So something that could have been fixed in 5 minutes like he did, some of these other guys. It's always some silly thing. Right. Yeah. So these guys could have fixed it for me, but they didn't. They didn't bother to ask. They didn't. So anyhow, he was like, you can still get it, but it's going to be kind of cramped, but you should still have time to get it before somebody else grows another world record this year. And so I was like, okay, this is in spring of 2022. Well, then another guy reaches out to me who knew this guy who had got a 65-pound one verified for the world record. And he was just like, I just wanted to let you know that this person got it at 65.5. And here's all these different screenshots of all this shady stuff that was said behind my back and how to push almost a 20-pound lighter butternut for a world record, because he was friends with some of these representatives in the GPC and stuff. Oh my gosh. And, a little nefarious behavior behind your back. Right. And there was like a whole bunch of these screenshots with all this stuff on there. And I'm like, all right, okay, cool, fine. So I still went through the process and was pushing it and everything. And Guinness comes back and says, you have did a great job documenting it because you've got all this YouTube stuff that,
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. That butternut was the fastest growing butternut to get in 38 days. It went from ovary to 83 pounds. Everybody else's was taking well over 7, right? It was 38 days. Okay. So yeah. So I mean, it was the
38
fastest
days.
38 days. And so they were like, you did a great job, recording it and everything. Like, we can't dispute that you grew it. Our only problem is we have a thing with the GPC that we allow them to translate it from pounds to metric. Okay. But if you yourself go weigh it, you have to weigh it on metric scales in kilos. So we don't allow anybody personally to do that on their own. And I was like, okay, so what do you want me to do? They were like, we need you to reweigh it. I said, you want me to reweigh a 1-year-old butternut? Like, because at this time it's September,
it loses
right?
water, right?
Right. And I'm like, I can't reweigh a 1-year-old butternut. So I was just, okay. I was like, that's fine. I said, what if I reach out and have the president of the GPC write you and tell you that I grew it and verify it that way? Would that work? I said, because I had one of the representatives on a conference call. He video witnessed it being weighed.
Yeah, where's that guy?
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, would that count? And they said, yeah, if you can have him verify it through an email, we'll give you your world record. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I write the president of the GPC. And at this time, everybody was mad that Henry had gotten it at almost 20 pounds lighter. So there was a bunch of trash talking all over these different forums on Facebook.
Put that on your blinders on. And
right.
You.
I wasn't in it though. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to say, so anyhow, I wrote him and I was like, can you help me out? Because they said they'll give it to me. I just want this for my kids. It's not really for me. I just want them to say, hey, look what dad did. Right. I mean, it's cool if your kid goes to school and like, hey, my dad grew a world record, so anyhow, so he writes me back and he's just like, well, I see a lot of trash talking and finger pointing and name blaming. Very, very sad. I'll get back to you on this. And that's the last time I ever heard from him.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So them, we don't get along. I don't really get in with that clique anymore. I'm just kind of do my own thing, grow my own stuff. And if I grow a record, cool. If I don't, whatever. So,
and this is it right here.
Yeah, that's it right there. Yep.
Dude,
it's that thing.
It's so
Massive,
big, it looks
huge.
fake. Like it's so big, it looks like a prop from a movie.
Yeah, that right there. Prevogenics gave me my first sponsorship because of that.
Wow,
that is insane.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Hey, if y'all have pumpkin or squash questions down below, I know a lot of people, and this is the comments I get on my squash videos and stuff like that. But with the amount of pumpkins and squash you're growing, how do you defend yourself from the squash vine borer? Like, how does that happen, dude?
Everybody talks about it, but I have never seen one here.
Really?
Never seen one here in my area ever at all. I've never had a problem with them. So I'll tell you what I do have problems with is cucumber beetles. I hate them things.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I'll go out there and the male flower will be opened and there'll be like 30 of them little things inside of there.
30 of them.
Yeah, like
oh no,
bad.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I've had them really bad before, and when you have a really bad infestation, you can go out there with a stick and kill like 6 in a minute, like as fast as you can swing. But it doesn't do a dent, like it doesn't put a dent in them.
I grab the flower at the top whenever they're like that, and then throw them on the ground and stomp the whole flower.
Oh hey,
yeah.
That's what.
So
yeah, but
they're bad.
Thank God they make sprays, so you don't have to sit out there all day and smash bugs by hand.
I try not to spray too much on everything because So Dan Sutherland, he's the guy that holds the world record for tomato, and I think he grew like an 18-pound tomato or something.
Good Lord,
insane.
Yeah. Like the thing was, it was as big as a basketball. Like if you look up the official world record, it's only 11 pounds, right? And Dan's kind of like I think from what I understand, he's had a situation with the GPC like I did. Right. So Dan doesn't go and certify his stuff anymore. He grows it, he posts it, and it's kind of like, look what I can do. And then everybody's like, please make that the official world record. And he's like, nope. And then nobody gets no seeds out of him either. Right. So Like I really admire that guy. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I completely understand why you're like that. So, but I talked to him and so he says like, you know, when the bugs are attacking your stuff, it's because they're already diseased to begin with.
Yep.
And he's like, when you have healthy soil and healthy plants, the bugs don't touch them. But the bugs are there because the plant already has disease, whether it shows it or not, and they're there to break that plant down back down to organic matter. And that's why they're attacking your plant.
Wow.
I agree.
Wow.
This is what I'm seeing. It says 14. They're 13.9.
Okay.
This is the one on Facebook.
Is that Dan's?
From
Yeah.
October 4th, 2022.
Yeah, Dan Sutherland.
That's his baby. Yeah, that's
Dang.
a small one. There's a 17 pounder.
That's insane, man.
It's like 17 or 18 pounds.
Good.
I mean, it ain't pretty, but it's big.
Yeah, it's.
Huge.
I mean, just thinking how much energy your plants need to produce fruit of that size, it's
Oh,
insane
yeah.
to me. And like,
And support. You got to support
Yeah.
that, right?
Right.
oh, is it just one? Like, are you just doing one fruit per vine?
Yep.
You kind of have to do
Okay.
it like that.
You just have like
Yeah.
a field of like 10 different plants with your all pouring their energy into each one pumpkin.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Hey,
that's the only way that you can really maximize them and get. I mean, there's some people who, like, even I've played around with it. Let's see here.
I've got some questions in the chat too. One, I don't know what smut corn is.
Right,
Is that
right,
Is that a West
right
Virginia
here.
thing?
We talked about that. It's
That's
isn't
17.15 is what that
Oh, that's
was.
crazy.
I can't get it to show up on there. I don't think. Let me see.
Are these heirloom
Wow.
varieties too?
dang.
Can y'all see the number on it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Is that more than, are those fused blooms? Is it like more than one?
So what we do is we
Blooms?
look for mega blooms.
Yeah, mega blooms.
So pump it full of phosphorus, like hit it real hard with phosphorus in the
Yeah, yeah.
beginning, and those things will put out mega blooms like as big as a quarter or silver dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of them are fused. Now sometimes they don't fuse together. Sometimes they'll like miss, but you gotta go out there and really make sure you're getting it pollinated. So guys go out there with an electric toothbrush and put it on the back side of it and do it like 2-3 times a day. Some guys stick fans on it. Some guys take straws and blow on them, you know, but you got to make sure it gets pollinated. Because if you just like, they open different times. So if you don't get the whole chain of them, don't open up at once. So you literally got to go out there multiple days in a row till all of it's pollinated and do that like 2-3 times a day. So
Mhm.
Oh wow.
yeah,
And there's a whole section of like growers that just focus on giant stuff. Like I didn't know. I mean, I guess there's something like this for everything, but like I didn't know that y'all existed. Like I knew there were some people that like did like pumpkin chunking. I didn't know that like there was a whole group of people who like there's a couple of Facebook groups where it's just people trying to
I
grow
saw a
giant
post-
fruits and veggies.
yeah, it's fun.
It's so awesome.
I saw a post where they took all these pumpkins and
Mhm.
they turned them into boats.
Yep.
So that's what
Is that
Isn't
that's
that
what
what you were
you-
talking about?
yes.
Did you send me that? I forget where he said they were like all in a pond. They were just going
it's the-
kayaking around in the pumpkin boats.
I think they call it the pumpkin. Was it the pumpkin regatta or something like that?
Oh
This
my
thing's got to be
goodness.
regatta.
Yeah. And you were asking about corn smut. Is that what you were asking?
Yes.
Daphne?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
So like corn smut is not really here in West Virginia much. I got seeds and planted them that evidently were like I guess contaminated, I guess is what you would call it, with
Inoculated.
Yeah, there you go,
Inoculated, yeah.
inoculated.
Because it's supposed to be like the truffle of
Right.
corn.
Right, exactly. So I got some seeds from a guy and they ended up grow because I've tried to grow it and stuff. It's just really not found around here very much. So I planted those, and that was the only corn that had it, was those seeds that I had planted. And it's really good, but like it's usually found in like South America is from what I can tell the majority of the time. And a lot of farmers in America spray their stuff, so it wouldn't grow. Even if they did have it, it wouldn't grow on their corn because they spray for it. So, but
Yeah.
it tastes really good. So I
Gotcha.
actually liked it.
Nice. I got a question here. So I get this question a lot with squash and pumpkins and all the cucurbits, like the squash and everything like that. Amazing. I get my pumpkins to produce a female bloom, or no, it was the other question. I misread the question, but I thought they were asking because people will ask me, I got a bunch of male blooms on my squash plant. I don't have any female blooms. And I try to tell.
Is that what she's saying? I can't get no pumpkins to produce a female bloom.
Yeah, it is what she's saying.
Oh, I read it wrong again. Okay, yeah. Like that's just a timing thing, right? Like once it's mature, it starts putting out female flowers, right? Or is it?
Yeah. So at first, the plants put off a bunch of male flowers, and you'll see a ton of males, and sometimes it lasts for like a month. You know, you'll see nothing but males, and then all of a sudden you'll start seeing little ovaries come on. You know, your little females. And you just got to wait. If you're not getting any females, then you've got your nutrients out of whack. So you probably need to do a soil test. Yeah, if you don't get any females at all that year, you got a nutrient deficiency of some sort, or you've got too much of something that's blocking out a nutrient that the plant needs to produce a female. So because that's all nutrients are tied to the hormones in the plant. So if the nutrients ain't right, then the hormones don't know what to do. You got everything out of whack. So best thing to do is do a soil testing every year and make everything balanced, because if it's balanced, then you don't have to worry about it.
Right. And usually it just happens with time. Like you were saying, usually it just produces a bunch of males. And that's cool because you can fry up those male flowers. You can do a lot. People do a lot of recipes with that. Yes. I heard a lot of people they use them like quesadillas. Like they're really good, like in quesadillas.
I never had that, but that does sound good.
Yeah. And then
corn smut and squash flour quesadillas.
Well, and someone was, I didn't know that, I didn't know it was an Italian thing to do like mozzarella stuffed or like cheese stuffed squash flowers, and they fry them. They'll take they take the squash flowers and they put like a ricotta or whatever and like seal them up, and then they deep fry them. So it's like a cheese stick almost, like with squash flour. Good. That's some kind of that sounds really good actually.
I'm going to go look it up.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to use some of that. So, and you mentioned earlier that you hand pollinate. You hand pollinate all your female. So, is it the first female flower you see, then you cut it, or how did what is your system?
So, it's kind of like breeding dogs. You know, like that's how I breed pumpkins. And like, so I'll look like, for instance,
it's a little bit different.
sort of, but the pedigree, you know, like you look at the pedigree on a dog, the genes on the pumpkin, you know, and then, you know, if there's certain traits you got in your female and your male dog, you know, it's the same thing with female and male pumpkins, right? Like this is what I'm looking for. So like that 1009, I bred that to my 1016 because my 1016 was really ribby, you know. And the 1009 was kind of more flat with no ribs in it. But I wanted to keep that orange color. So what I did is I bred those two together, and I grew 2 1009 seeds this year. One of them looks like a 1016 with no ribs. The other one looks like the 1016 with ribs and orange. So it's like the 1009. So like I got what I was looking for. Sort of. I got like a 50-50 split, but then everybody else that grew it, they all grew orange and kind of ribby, you know, but there's like one of them's like super, super ribbed. I think I sent the picture to you too. It had like a weight on it. I was trying to find a way to put it up there. It's so if you can find it, it's the one that says 417. So that's the one that's like super ribby and orange. That's what I was looking for. So, and then the one that says 562 was not what I was looking for. So, but you take those genes, you lock them in by self-pollinating, and then, you know, you lock the genes in, the next year you grow it and it should be locked in and you get ribby and big. So, but I didn't do that this year. I bred it with something else. So,
do you do one pumpkin per vine, or do you pollinate a couple pumpkins and then choose the one you want to keep?
I do
and
that.
Then get rid of everything else?
So depending on where it's at on the vine, like you got to look for position, like of the fruit, like where's it going to be at? You know, does it look to be in the right spot? How fast they're growing, you know, some different things, you know, but usually it's just all about position, of the pumpkin, where it's going to be at. How long the stem is something else that you look for, because you don't want a little short stubby thing, because then your vines are going up in there and stuff. You look at the shape of the pumpkin too, because every plant will throw 2 or 3 different shapes off of that one plant, and they all won't be the same. So you look at that, and then you just choose whichever one you think is growing the best, and hope you just didn't cut a world record one off. So
that's the decision making where you're like, oh no,
right. You're like, oh, should I do that? That one looks pretty good. And when it comes down to trying to make decisions, it's pretty difficult. So, but
how do you? Okay, this is a logistical question, right? How the heck do you move the pumpkin to the scale? Like once it hits a certain size, or do you put it on a pallet? Like, do you fork?
It's got to be on a pallet, right? The forklift.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I got 2 gantries that I built. They're like giant swing sets.
That's so cool.
Right.
Look at that thing. Sorry.
That's the 1009. That thing was beautiful. And also that pumpkin also won prettiest pumpkin in the world last year too.
It's beautiful.
That is a beautiful. It looks like you painted it like it's so beautiful.
I got accused of photoshopping it.
I do too. I get it all the time too. People just don't realize I'm naturally pretty. It's okay, Ryan.
Right, exactly, right?
You're beautiful. All of you are beautiful.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
But
what is this right here? What is this?
That's a giant bell pepper. It was 1 pound 1 ounce, and I think the world record was just like the world record was 16.22 pounds, or ounces. 16. They did it weird when they posted it. So 16.22 was the ounces was the world record, and that was 1 pound 1 ounce. So I literally was just shy of a world record last year.
By like a tenth, like 0.12.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
There's the butternut.
And wnhat's crazy is that was a Baker Creek seed. That's the yellow monster from Baker Creek.
Oh really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to Baker Creek.
Yeah, that wasn't even a special seed.
My goodness.
This one is crazy.
That's a 3 pound
I know.
tomato. All right, so that's the 665. I grew that one in 2022. That last year I grew that seed, which grew my 1009. That's why they look so much alike.
Yeah.
That orange color.
Yeah.
Here's my question now, because you've been getting all these state records. Like, so it's got to be the community in your state. All the other pumpkin guys. You're all out there making these giant pumpkins.
What is it now?
Like, how many other people are you competing with in West Virginia?
Oh, so there's a bunch. I mean, from Virginia and West Virginia. There's probably like 20 guys that I know of in West Virginia that grow, competitively.
Okay.
And there's probably the same amount in Virginia, and then North Carolina's got a bunch of them.
That's what I was going to say. I bet they're everywhere. It's one of those things that if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't see it. I bet they're in all. I bet they're in all of our communities. We just don't know. We just don't know about it. So I mean, maybe I'm sure there's some people here in Houston. I'm sure of it.
I'm so excited to show my kids this stuff because we read a lot of Berenstein Bears. There's a Berenstein Bears book about growing the biggest pumpkin. And I've read it maybe 500 times in the past 4 months.
In North Carolina, there's 3 weigh-offs in North Carolina, and I used to go to all 3 of them. But there's one in Yadkin Valley, which is 3 hours away from me. Then there's one in Spring Hope, and then there's the North Carolina State Fair has a weigh-off as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun going to them, and you get to see some giant watermelons too. Like those things are like 300 some pounds.
Wow.
How do you keep them from rupturing, or is that part of the genes themselves?
They will. There's really nothing you can do about it. They'll grow so fast they'll blow a blossom end out, or you'll get a real bad stem crack in them. And like, see how that stem is on this 665 right here?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that whole stem, except for that little bit of white right there, was completely rotted out and gone. Well, not rotted, but had died back, and I had to scoop it all out so it wouldn't rot into the pumpkin. And I only had like a quarter of the stem left, pushing that fruit. That's why I only got 665 pounds.
Is it also like you are like worried about like a really big soaking, drenching rain because
you don't want
may
that.
gather too much water and kind of crack everywhere too?
Well, yes and no. So
Or explode.
when we decide that we want to keep one, we'll either put foam board underneath them and then put sand, or we'll put like 9 to 10 inches of sand alone underneath them, because we don't want them sitting on bare soil, because bare soil holds too much water and it will rot. But the other part is if you're if you're watering pretty constant, you should be good. If you get a drenching rain, like pumpkins need 500 gallons of water a week on average.
Dang.
Yeah. Just
Okay,
for
wow.
one pumpkin.
I
It
didn't even think
usually
about
needs
that.
like
Good
500
Lord.
gallons of water a week.
Just a heads
And
up.
we're speaking
for
of
you-
giant pumpkin varieties, right?
people
Right.
in the
Not your
desert, just a
average
heads up.
Right, right.
jack-o'-lantern.
So, but
Goodness.
so like if you get a soaking rain, you should be fine, But if you're a lot of times when you see people blowing them up, it's because either they wasn't watering consistently, and when they got that big water, or they went out there and forgot to turn their water off, they blow them up that way. And then other times it's because the fruit decides to kick it into overdrive and suck up a bunch of nutrients and stuff, and then it just blows out. So there's really no way my wife says I play it safe, because I've never blown one up, and I won't push it. I like to get them to the end, because mine can go to Dollywood. There's
Cool. That would be so cool.
right. I can sell them to other people and stuff. I'd rather let people enjoy them than for me to win a way off.
Yeah,
try to-
you're like consistently creating memories for people, including yourself, which is pretty
right,
cool.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't really even care to grow a 2,000-pound pumpkin ever. I mean, if I focused on it, I probably could, but it's just
Is that the world record?
2,749 pounds is the world record.
Good grief.
So
In
It's
the
like a
US?
Fiat 500.
how heavy is this
Dude.
one?
That was 665 pounds. That was
So-
a baby.
Look how big that is.
So
That
the-
was no
the-
big deal. It's like 7 of me. No, I'm just kidding.
The world record
Good
is that
grief.
much bigger than this.
Yeah, it's 2,749 pounds.
Holy crap! That is insane. I can't even fathom a pumpkin that big.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
Trying
like
to
that's like
process.
a Mini Cooper. Like that's like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
insane. Like fully gassed up. Like with
It's a
everybody
Yaris.
inside of it.
Well, I mean,
Toyota
I-
it's a Nissan Leaf, Phil.
It's my Nissan Leaf. Yeah.
I am such a small person, and whenever I see like a really tall person in public or something, I like avoid them like the plague, because I just get little persons. I'm not kidding. I will, if I see you on the grocery aisle and you're 6'6" or something, I'm gonna go somewhere
The
else.
other way.
I'm not gonna walk next to you. So what I'm getting at here is like I cannot imagine me standing next to a pumpkin that large. I might
Oh
have
my
an
gosh.
existential crisis.
Well, something I was gonna I was
so
gonna
excited. I'm sorry.
you get this. You get, it's exciting and like cool. It's cool to see cool stuff like this. What I was gonna ask is at the end of this, is this edible? Like, is this still good to
No.
eat? I mean,
No
or is it
So-
sections of it that are rotten, or how does it work?
So I would never eat a giant pumpkin for a couple reasons. One, they don't have a high enough sugar content. They're going to taste like crap.
Yeah.
So there's no need to do that. Now I
It's
do
all
feed them.
starch.
I
It's
feed
all
them to my
starchy.
animals.
Mhm.
I don't really know like what I just know they don't have a high enough sugar content. I do know that much. So they're I wouldn't eat one. The other reason why I wouldn't eat one is because what we spray on them, because
yeah.
we're trying to get them to the finish line. So we'll be out there spraying imidacloprid on there, Eagle 20 on there, and all kinds of cancerous stuff. You know what I mean? I don't do that anymore. I did do that up until 2022, and then I quit. But I would never eat one of them. So,
Got you.
but I feed
do
them
not
my
blame you.
animals, and they're all fine. So I guess.
Well, that's good. It doesn't go to waste. It doesn't go to waste
Right.
for sure. And then are you cutting these open to like get seeds like for next year? Like you're actively trying to get seeds from these, obviously.
Well, I want the
Get a
seeds because I sell
sawzall
the
after it?
I sell the seeds. Like the 665 seeds we're selling for $100 a piece.
Oh my god!
My goodness.
So
And people,
what?
and people pay for it. People are paying
Yeah.
that for it.
Yep. So I mean,
Oh.
yeah. So I was selling those for $100 a piece, and then the 1009s were going for $100 a piece. I mean, I got seeds that I'll sell for like $10. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
when they've won awards and then they grow. Like last year, the 665 grew 4 or 5 Howard Deal awards and 3 pumpkins over 1,000 pounds. And one of them was 1,692 pounds. So,
well, if you think about it, think about like a stud fee from like a racehorse. Think about like a stud from that's exactly like you're getting the seed from a grand champion. I mean, this is exactly what that is.
This is it. This is the grand champion, right?
Exactly.
You want a purebred German Shepherd show dog,
right? Exactly.
You are going to top dog.
Look at it; it's glorious.
It's so cool, man. I know we've been talking about pumpkins for a while. I want to scroll down because I know you do carrots and stuff too. So this is a very interesting picture. And so, is this a record right here?
Yeah. So both of those are state records. The one on the top was grown in 2022. That was a 4 pounds, 0.72 ounce carrot. So that's a state record for weight. And you can see I broke some of it off. See there at the bottom,
just getting it out.
Yeah, trying to get it out. It was in my trash can bed. That's where I grow my giant carrots in. And then the other one is a Uzbekistan Gold or Uzbek Gold or whatever it's called. That one right there.
Oh, yeah.
From Baker Creek. Okay, and I'm out there in my raised bed just pulling carrots, and that one just kept coming. It kind of reminded me of Marv off of Home Alone, where he pulls the cord and it just keeps coming. You know, iron ends up hitting him in the face, and I'm like, "What in the world?" He just kept coming out. I was like, "That's a state record! Holy cow!"
How did you not break that?
It was 36 inches on the dot, 36 inches long. So that's a state record.
So how does that work? So it's really thin. Like how does that? So
that whole carrot. All right. So if you grew a world record. The world records get down to that skinny, and the world record is like 21 foot.
Wow,
21. Oh my gosh!
Smart Pot built me a 22 foot long sleeve sock looking thing to grow the world record carrot in.
Dude, how cool are they? I love Smart Pots.
Would you just like attach it to like the side of your like shed or barn or house?
I had it over there on my pine trees, and I built this jig to put it in, and that did not work. So we have to go back to the drawing board and try to figure this out because I'm going to grow a 22 foot long carrot. I just have to figure out how to put a 22 foot long sock somewhere to grow this 22 foot long carrot. I thought about attaching it to the telephone pole.
Yeah.
But the telephone pole is 5 foot too short.
Oh, crap.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
oh my god.
And then how are you going to get up there? You
gotta have a 25-foot ladder.
You may have to get like a 50-foot pole installed, like in your yard. Like,
ask
like a deer stand to do something like
to come bring their bucket lift.
You can do a deer stand. Yeah.
Get a deer stand up there, and then
is something like this? Is this like a bunch of seeds? Are these merged together?
That's like a Medusa. You know, it's one seed that just sprout out a bunch of different little old shoots, and that's what you want.
That's insane.
That is so much fun.
So I guess the only way you can tell is from the top. It's one stem. There's not a bunch of.
Yeah, you can tell because it was like this big around at the top, you know. And like I got the video. I think it's on YouTube of me. My wife was videoing me as I'm digging this thing out. I was like, "Babe, it touches the bottom of the trash can." I'm like, "Holy cow!" I'm like digging it out, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's so crazy, it's big." And I pull it out, and it's like this. I'm like, "Look at this thing," you know. Yeah,
it's so awesome.
I can't wait to watch that video.
Look at that pumpkin.
That is so insane, man.
This looks like so much fun.
It does.
Oh, man.
It's a blast.
I think like you're selling these for $100 a pop. They've got to have good germination rates, and then like
I mean, I germ test 10 of them. You know, like I'll put 10 out and I'll germ test them, and as long as I'm getting 8 to 9 of them to pop, I'm good. You know, federal law, I think on most seeds is 70% or better. You got to have, you know.
Got it.
So I mean, I make sure, but I've never had anybody go, "Hey, your seeds didn't pop," you know.
Yeah.
So.
And what is your store? Is it on Etsy, or is there a link in your?
I have an Etsy, but nobody ever buys off of it. Usually, people just hit me up in inbox and say, "Hey, I want to buy seeds or whatever," and I hook them up. So
so if you're looking for seeds, go to your Instagram, and I think your email is right there on the screen right now. Sorry, sorry about that.
you're
But
good.
you can email him about seeds for that way too, probably.
Yeah, and I got a Facebook page too for the channel too. So
Oh,
they-
sweet.
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
sorry for having your email on the screen. Is that
you're
okay?
good, man.
Okay,
You're
okay.
good.
I didn't realize I was doing that until like right now. I'm sorry. But
Is that what is that
is-
one?
is that a
That's a
green
green
bean?
bean.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a green bean.
Just above
Wow.
it. Oh, look
It's-
at that green bean.
It's like 24 inches, I think, is what it
is
was.
that a record too?
Yeah, it's a state
Oh my
record.
goodness.
And the
Oh
thing
my-
above it is a rutabaga. That's a 31-pound
That's right.
rutabaga.
Good grief.
Oh
You-
my
I love
god.
it.
I thought it was
Look at that
wasabi.
thing.
I thought it was wasabi at first because it's so green at the top. That would
This
be a
is
cool
like
one.
you
That would be a
know in
cool
like
one.
Ninja Turtles when they had the mutagen spill and
Yep.
they picked
Yeah,
those
yeah.
dandelions. Yeah, you spilled mutagen, man.
Right?
Right.
TGIF or whatever, or TGRI. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
they're right down the road. I got the ooze from them.
You got the secret of the ooze.
Right.
And so, like the
Oh.
rutabaga you can eat though. The rutabaga and the
Yeah.
carrots and stuff are good, huh?
Yeah, they're fine to eat because I don't spray them.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And this looks like it's got like they like grow a nub off the side right here, or what
yeah,
was
they'll
this?
grow
Like-
different. Yeah, they'll grow different heads and shoots and stuff off the top of them. Get all wonky looking. They're
Wow.
pretty fun. That thing, if it would have kept growing like it was, it got too hot here because it's too cold to put them out in March usually. So I have to wait till like the end of March, beginning of April, and then we heat up too fast in June and July. So like the heat, they don't like heat, and by August they're done. So that one was still growing. I was getting 2 inches a day in growth in circumference, and I started having rutabagas start to drop from hollow root rot. So like the entire center rots out of them, and I
Oh,
got
wow.
scared, and I just went ahead and pulled that one out and went and weighed it because I wanted a state record more than I did a world record. So I just went and pulled it and weighed it, and then I put it back in the ground thinking it would take back off again, but it didn't. So I wanted seeds off of it, but
That's
that didn't
crazy.
happen.
Oh, you wanted to go to seed and put out.
Yeah, I wanted it to go seed, but it didn't. It rotted.
Wow. And
it
this is your corn, right? This is your
Yeah. So the corn record is 17 foot 10.5 inches tall, and the length of the ear is 21 inches.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's two
Wow.
more state records off of them.
so
Yeah,
so
right. That corn, yeah.
it's so crazy, man.
Almost 2 foot long corn cob, man. It's pretty cool.
Goodness.
So something like this, the green bean, are you pinching off like all but a couple flowers, or are you just letting this do its thing, or how does
I
this
actually
work?
I'll let them grow, and sometimes them beans will start to curl, so I'll pull the curled ones off. But green beans are pretty good, so I usually let like 4 or 5 hang on them, sometimes more than that. But if they're growing good, I just let them grow, and I'll just pick all the curly ones off of it. And because the plant's got more than enough power to push, several of those. So
Mhm.
Do you
Are
remember
you
what the
fertilizing? Are you fertilizing your soil, or are you just going? What kind of methods are you using just to keep?
I
the
take a soil
nutrients?
test in the fall, or not fall, but in the spring, and then I amend it. But this year I'm going to do one in the fall, see where I'm at, and then plant cover crop, and then take another one in the spring, and then amend that way. And then the rest of the summer, I usually just feed compost tea the rest of the summer with
Cool.
like some boron, here and there, and some other, like cow mag and stuff like that. I'm not really feeding them like real heavy. I just I try to let the soil do its thing. So some of the top growers say there should be enough nutrients in your soil to push that fruit for the entire season if you amended it properly. And the only thing you should do is like maybe add some boron here and there, because boron helps get your bricks up. Your bricks help keep bugs away, because the bricks in the plant makes it like a brick wall on the leaf, and they don't want to eat something that's hard and dense. They want to eat stuff that's soft, so the higher the bricks level, the kind of like a shield is what gets put up on your plant, so they'll do that. But
I love hearing that. That's cool. It's like literally the healthier your plant, the less likely
the
things to
bugs,
eat it.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the boron also builds up cell walls, so it makes your cell walls thicker, which means you're heavier, And if that's what you're looking for, which is weight, because that's what we win by, then you want thicker cell walls, so we feed boron for that reason as well. But I stick more to like azos and mycos and, compost tea stuff, because the microbes in the soil is what breaks stuff down in order for your plant to take up the nutrients. So if you don't have a good, microbe, colony in there, you're not really going to be able to break down the nutrients properly in order for your plant to take it up. So I'll amend and then make sure you got good organic matter, because that also helps, the colony and stuff and nutrients and all that. So if you got most guys will tell you like 9 to 10% on organic matter is where you need to be, but I'll have like 18%, so, and I mean, I'd go to 20 if I can get there. So just feed a lot of azos, mycos, and compost tea and stuff. And I can tell a huge difference, because last year I played around with it a lot. And like I had tertiary vines, like, so on a pumpkin plant, you got your main vine, you have secondary vines, and off of those secondaries, you got tertiaries. And I had tertiary vines that were as big as my main, and my main was that big around.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, and I had tertiaries that were that big. Well, I was feeding super heavy on mycos, azos, and compost tea. So, I mean, that's really what you need. And then, like, if you brew your compost tea, so I use Aero Mixer to brew my compost tea in a 275 gallon tote. And the Aero Mixer pushes so much oxygen into that solution that when you put it in, it's almost like pouring peroxide on there. It's not peroxide as in like the bad part of the peroxide, but the bubbly, the air, the oxygen, right? You're getting that much oxygen, and you're oxygenating your soil, which without oxygen, your plant can't live, because it needs oxygen in the soil for your roots and all that, and your microbes and stuff. So yeah, like that was crazy playing around with it last year and watching all that stuff grow, because that's where I grew the most state records was last year. I think I went from 12 state records in 2022 to 38 last year.
Wow.
So yeah, and I think that's why.
Go ahead, Des. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, whenever you do a soil test, are you doing some kit that you get online, or do you mail it off to your extension services?
So I live close to Virginia Tech, and I'll send it to Virginia Tech and let them do it, because they're agricultural. Yeah, they're agricultural. So I send it to them. West Virginia has an extension and stuff, but I don't know how much I want to let West Virginia handle it, because from what I've heard, they give you like the bare minimum, and I don't need the bare minimum. I need, exact. Now I've used Western Labs, but Western Labs is super expensive, and they're out in Pharma, Idaho. But I mean, if you got to think, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm doing 6 patches, and then a combination of like 10 or 11 raised beds. So yeah, I can't afford $55 a pop for those all that.
Oh yeah.
No, you need to, and you want to send it somewhere that they're going to be looking at it under a microscope and really running it through there and telling you what you got.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. So the college is the right way to go. Ours is tied to a college, and so
yeah,
that's cool.
Well, even the Texas Department of Agriculture, I found out, uses A&M. Like they don't have their own lab. They go to A&M. No. That's so crazy.
Yes. A&M.
That's cool.
Everything goes there.
Yeah.
They do a great job. They're fantastic. They've got a fantastic agriculture and horticultural department.
Very. Yeah, I got to go see the Texas plant clinic, and actually, Dr. Ong is going to be at Figtoberfest. They're going to have a table set up. So if you got some sick plants, bring them. Ooh. Well, keep them away from my plants, but you can bring. It's funny. It's funny. You'll see people bring sticks or leaves and say, "Hey, what's wrong with my leaf?" or "What's wrong with my stick?" And here in this part of Texas, there's mostly
is a dead stick.
Oak wilt. It's oak wilt right now. Oak wilt is a big thing going on right now. But I had some questions down below. We were talking about hand pollinating. What do you use to do your hand pollinating? Do you use like a brush, or do you just what is your method?
So the night before, I go out and I look at the females. If the females are looking like really yellowish orange on the tips, and they start to look like they're trying to open up at the top, then I take a styrofoam cup, stick over there. I'll tell you in a minute why that's a bad idea. But I've done it for the past since 2021, and it worked until this year. And so I got to switch up next year. But I take a styrofoam cup, stick over the top of there, and then I go to the plant I want to pollinate it with, and I'll pick all my males off, put them in water, and bring them inside. That way there's nothing touching them at all but me. So then the next morning I go outside, probably about 7:30, pull the cup off. If the female's open, I grab my males and rip all the petals off and the pistils, exposed in, and I just take the pistil and go around and around and around on the ovaries, and then take the petals, pull it back up on the female, stick my cup back on it, and go away till the next day. Come out the next day, pull the cup off, pull the petals off of the female, and she takes off growing. It's a bad idea to use a styrofoam cup when you're in a heat wave in a drought like we were, because
you cooked it.
You cooked it.
Cooked it.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And I sat there
Well
and
insulated.
I was talking to my buddy last week, and I said, man, I had a horrible time pollinating this year. And I was telling him everything, and he was like, and this dude's as country gets. He said, you know what I think? I think you cooked that pollen. And I said, I think you're right. That was a stupid idea. Why did I do? Because it's worked since 2021. I never had a problem.
You
Paper
introduced
bag,
the variable of
fire.
heat. Like all of a sudden
Right.
the heat was there.
Exactly. But we didn't have mornings that were 80 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning and higher, because pumpkins do not pollinate after like 75 degrees.
Mm-mm.
They don't
Oh
pollinate.
my goodness.
So I was literally cooking everything. I'm lucky to have anything I have out here because all of them had cups on them.
Oh
So
my god. Oh my.
Next year-
Paper
Next
bag?
year.
next year, get those little micron bags, like you use, I use for my pepper plants and my tomatoes when I want to make sure that they're pure to save the seeds for them, and slip those over and be done with it. So yeah, no more styrofoam cups. Don't use styrofoam cups. It's a bad, horrible idea.
Gotcha. Jorge's in the chat. I just want to say hi to Jorge. Shout out Jorge.
Hey Jorge.
Oh, Jorge.
Howdy.
Oh my goodness. So a lot of people are probably watching this right now, and they're like, "Man, I want to get some Orion seeds. I want to try to grow a giant pumpkin. Try to grow a giant ear of corn." What kind of space do people need to grow a giant pumpkin? Like, how much space does someone need to grow a giant pumpkin?
Good
So
First of all, you don't grow just one, right? You grow multiple. You don't just do one seed. Probably.
no, you can grow just one.
Really?
Yeah, you can grow just one. I mean, you just have to self-pollinate it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, yeah, you can grow just one. So I have a squash out there that's probably 50 some pounds and probably 30 days old. And I like the main plant, the stump started having issues, what we call foaming at the stump. And it's where it's got so much water and stuff, and it is like pushing out of the stump, right? So I was like, okay, no problem. Well, then I found another spot and then another spot on down the vine. And I was like, okay, I'm done. So I've ripped the plant out. Well, there was one piece of vine that looked really healthy. And I said, I'm just going to let that secondary grow. I took the whole plant out except for that secondary. That secondary might be 50 square foot. And it's already got a 30-day-old 50-pound fruit on it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. And you got to think that does not have the original stump or the roots on it. It's just whatever tap roots were sent down and, growing. So I was like, so what I'm trying to say is you can grow as small as a 50 square foot, which is like the backside, like the truck bed, right? Like, I think that's close to 50 square foot. So if you got a truck bed size area, you can grow one. Just know that it's going to be very hard to maintain because the plant's going to want to go crazy. Okay. So you're going to have to be very good at pruning. But it's possible. It's very feasible. You don't expect something massive. You know what I mean? Well, I take that back. If 200 pounds is massive for you, then absolutely you can do it. Right. That's just not very big for me. So, and I'm not trying to be arrogant or cocky.
No,
It's just,
200.
No.
Like
No, we
200
get it.
I'm like, 200's fine for me.
Yeah,
Right,
You were,
right,
talking about,
right.
you were talking about a 2,700-pound pumpkin. We know what you mean. Like
Right,
it's
right.
crazy.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, 200 pounds would be perfect, you know. So you can
Oh,
grow
yeah.
that in the backside of a bed of a truck, you know. I mean, if you got that kind of area, so or you can get into something like the 150 contest, which is 150 square foot. Grow the biggest one you can in 150 square foot. Which
Oh,
I have
that's
a patch
cool.
out there that is dedicated to that. That's 21 foot long by 7 foot wide.
Okay.
Which ends up being 150 square foot. And then
You could do
but
that, Phil. You could
actually
do
a
that,
little
Phil.
under.
I'm trying not to get too excited right now.
But they have a contest for that this guy does every year, and the world record for a 150 square foot plant is like 1,100 pounds or something like that.
Wow.
So you can grow an 1,100 plus pound pumpkin in 150 square foot.
Oh,
Dustin, that's HOA approved right there.
Man.
man.
I tried to get him to grow it; he won't grow one.
He's got to do it, man. It's
Send me the seeds, Ryan. We'll make it happen.
All right,
Oh, my
man.
God.
seeds.
That's
Oh
right.
my God.
Garden party
yeah.
pumpkin.
Yeah, Jorge said he'll
I'll
take
take-
that 200-pound pumpkin any day.
He
He's
says
got the
that
room.
until he gets it, and then he's like, "Keep growing, keep growing, keep
Oh,
growing."
I
Jorge's
know
got
that's what's gonna happen.
Jorge's got space. Jorge's got
He
space.
does.
How does it? So, like, what is your irrigation setup? I know you said it could take like 500 gallons a week. Like, what
Right.
is your irrigation setup for these pumpkins?
So I went through Drip Depot and got drip irrigation put on and then on timers, and I just
Mhm.
irrigate that way. I will overhead water, but you got to be careful overhead watering because you end up wearing your leaves out. You know, they
Mhm.
start getting beat down and stuff, and then the stalks start getting kind of weak, and then they start bending over, and because they're getting beat by normal rain and sun and wind anyhow. And if all you're doing is overhead watering all the time, you're just, worsening the problem and beating them down even more. I learned that in 2021 when my 1016 lost over half the plant, just the leaves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and I had to like let tertiaries grow to try to fill back in because without the leaves you can't grow anything. You can have all the vine you want and it can all be rooted in and stuff, but you got to have leaves to make photosynthesis to make the plant do what it's got to do to push the pumpkin. So so I kind of got away from overhead watering. I mean, I still overhead water, like I'll go out there and push out the 275 gallon. I'll overhead water that, with compost tea and stuff. And I'll foliar feed with a backpack fogger and a backpack sprayer. And I'll even wash my leaves off with an overhead waterer, just to make sure that I don't get a lot of stuff built up on them. But for the most part, it's just drip irrigation that I get through Drip Depot. So, and it works,
Amazing.
Okay, good
Let's
to
see.
know.
Is it actually possible to grow something the size he's talking about down here in Texas? Aren't all like 1,000 pounders grown in northern latitudes? Are most of the big pumpkins growing up
I think
y'all's area?
y'all's state record's 800 pounds, eight something in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So-
Floydada is like I think they're the pumpkin capital of Texas or something like that. Surely one of them have grown a huge pumpkin.
So yeah, there was a guy for like 2 years in a row that I had watched on Facebook, and he was trying to beat. I don't think he grew this year, but for the 2022 and 2023 he grew, and he was trying to beat the state record. Y'all's problem is heat, so you guys should technically start. Anybody that lives in Florida, Georgia, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, any of that stuff, South Carolina, y'all should all start y'all stuff in February and be planted outside by March and have that pumpkin ready to be harvested by July.
So for Texas, the record is 745.
Okay, there you go.
So that's even worse than what you thought. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's just pumpkins. I mean, we don't grow, but I bet we could do something with watermelon. It's the same. I mean, it's like watermelon might be a little different.
Everybody down there tries to start them when all of us in the northern part start trying to start them, right? Because you guys are trying to get them to the same weigh offs, right? If I want the state record, though, I don't have to go to a weigh off to get that state record. I just have to go to certified scales. So as long as it's certified, I don't care. If I lived in Texas, I would definitely start my stuff in February, plant out by March, harvest it by July.
Enoch's here.
Enoch, what's
Come
going
on,
on,
boy.
man?
Hey.
Yep. Yeah. No, my dad has had pretty good luck with turnips. My dad, or rutabagas, my dad thought he was eating turnips. He thought he bought turnip seeds, but he actually bought rutabaga seeds and actually liked the rutabagas better. So if you can grow turnips, you can grow rutabagas, and rutabagas will get pretty big. I mean, he pulled one out and gave it to me that was like the size of like a volleyball. It was pretty big. I mean, it was pretty dang big. I think it's just
They get massive.
like you were saying, when to start the seed.
Oh, he
And-
froze.
he froze
Oh,
up.
there he is.
I'm back. I'm back.
He's
And
back.
I didn't know you could transplant stuff like turnips and rutabagas. You
Yep.
you seed start them and then you transplant them.
Yep, I do. I
That's good to
transplant.
know.
I transplant the carrots. I transplant everything. I start it all inside, and then I'll transplant it all outside.
That's
So-
amazing.
I never thought to
heard
transplant a
Root
root
vegetables
vegetable.
were harder to
Yeah.
transplant. I guess you have to be really soon about it.
So let me see. Generally, start like onions will be started in late October, beginning of November, but then carrots, rutabaga, turnips, beets, parsnips, all that stuff. That'll all be started late December, beginning of January, and generally, like by March, they are hit the bottom of a 16-ounce water bottle, and then I put them outside. So, because they don't grow real good inside underneath the
Right,
lights
right.
either.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they're
That's a
very
good- that's a
slow,
good point.
you know.
For
They
sure.
have to be exposed to the elements to get some stress to actually be successful.
Right. Well, I even like this is my daughter's room, and I steal it every winter. So
Yeah.
I have to quit doing that. So wife said,
She's gotta sleep next to the turnips and the grow lights.
right, yeah. Wife said no more of that. So I got booted out to the cellar. So I set this spring I set the cellar up all good and stuff. So we're good out there.
Smart pots.
Smart pots. What's going on with smart pots?
Smart pots. They're awesome too. I grew some records in there. I think I grew the parsnip record in their stuff last year. And right now I have some beans growing in them. And I know for a fact I've got a sunflower that has a stalk that's like 13 inches round.
Goodness.
What?
How does
Wait a
that even
minute.
happen?
No, not
Wait.
that big. Not that big. Round, like this.
Des.
I know. I was like trying.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
In our demonstration garden at the extension office a couple of years ago, me and one of the other master gardeners were digging up the sweet potato bed because they were like done. And he's like an old retired doctor, right? And he did not have the patience for me going, oh my gosh, look at this one. And we were like both pitchforking these things out of the ground. They were massive and it was so big. And I had to bring this thing home to my husband and I walk in with it. It's dripping. It's like shedding dirt all over the place. And
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
honey, look at this.
Gotta look
It's
at
the
it.
size of a watermelon. He was like, yeah, that's a sweet potato. He did not care.
Man, I have seen sweet
I was
potatoes
like,
like 30
what?
pounds or something.
I was gonna
Yeah,
ask.
this was
Oh my
like-
gosh!
And they're all grown in North Carolina, dude.
15-pound sweet potato or something. I don't know. It was huge.
North Carolina is the land of the land of
and
yams.
good onion country.
Right?
If you go north of me, up towards like all those flatlands on the way to the Outer Banks, it's got some good fertile soil. There's huge onion spots out there.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So, Smart Pots wants to know about the 22-foot
The
long.
22
So we were just talking about that, guys. And I have to rig me a different apparatus to hold that sock to grow that thing because
He needs a good pine tree and a good deer stand that's safe.
right,
getting up
right,
there.
right. Because the other way did not work out. It fell out of the tree, busted everything.
man,
So
dang
yeah.
it.
I wonder if you can get some apparatus where you can like lower it down to like water it and then bring it back up.
Well, see,
and then-
that's the other problem I
You
was
can't
having. I was
bend it though.
standing up on a ladder. Like I built a trough, right? I built a V-shaped trough, laid it in the V-shaped trough because I was
Okay.
thinking if I water the trough, it'll soak to the Smart Pot and we'll be good, right?
Yeah.
That
bottom
does not
watering?
work. That
No.
don't work. Yeah,
I think you need scaffolding. You need
I have to
scaffolding.
have something. I got to come up with something.
What
better,
if
'cause
Where you can
have
get
a
to the top
long
and-
water hose and you take the water hose and you hook it up over a limb or something so it can water it from the top down?
Could do that.
Oh,
Or
It's like
or
zip tie.
I was thinking about this. Take
Tree.
all the dirt out of the sock, line it with a drip line from
Okay.
for drip irrigation, line the
Mhm.
entire thing with it, right? Fill it back up with dirt, and then put my carrot back in there and let it grow that way. And then all I gotta do is turn drip irrigation on, and it should technically drip inside the sock and hold all the water in that way. Maybe I don't
now
know.
when you're saying stock, what kind of is this? Is like a
It's like a
we can-
felt.
Just
It's like
figure
Felt. Yeah. It's
like a
felt
muslin
fabric.
bag? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a thick kind of felt.
So
Versus
I-
doing like a PVC pipe that you can connect over into like
Yeah,
a long.
I've done that. That don't work. It cooks them.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. What if we're overthinking it? What if you could grow a carrot sideways with it laying on the ground? Could you grow a carrot sideways?
I've thought about that. I have thought about that, but I was so worried that if you tried to grow it sideways, that it wouldn't grow long,
Yeah.
that it would try to grow
Like a
up
plug. like it'd be a big plug.
or
Yeah.
down or something. Like something would happen
Yeah.
because all the guys in England, they all grow in PVC pipes, but it's
Yeah.
way cooler there,
It's
right?
way
Yeah.
cooler there. Yeah.
100%. Yes.
And they grow them on an angle at a slant.
That's what I.
Okay, like they build these scaffoldings that are built on slants, and they put the PVC pipes in there and grow them on there. So that's why I made the apparatus I did, put it up high in the pine tree and let it come down. And I even used like my fence posts to like attach it to the rest of the way down. And then
Ryan,
I
you're
let-
on the cusp of something great. You're going to come up with something even better than this UK rigs, and you're going to
I
have
got-
the 25-foot
Yeah,
carrot.
I feel this. I feel this
I'm gonna
too.
have to
How wide? How wide is the sock? How wide is the sock?
like 9 inches round, 10 inches, not round, but like if you were to open it up, it's like
Diameter.
9 or 10 inches.
Mhm.
Nine,
So I was,
9-inch
I
diameter.
was thinking like kind of doing what they were doing, but like use a gutter to hold it up and then have it at an angle, like mounted like that, like a gutter holding the sock up, and then go kind of at that angle and still be able to get that
It's
down.
really heavy. That
Yeah.
sock's 22 foot long, filled with dirt. It's very heavy.
I'm gonna come up with
Could
some.
you just wet the felt
Yeah.
too?
I've tried that, and
gonna
like
do some Looney
that's why
Tune drawings.
that's why I built the trough. You know, so you can just like water
Yeah,
the
Ryan,
whole
you got
front,
this, man.
let it like
We got to
soak
come up
through.
with schematics, all of us. We'll just
Yeah,
like
something.
pitch
Yeah,
our-
Oh, here's an idea. Find one of those firefighting, like where firefighters train to become firefighters. They have
Yeah.
like those towers. Find like one of those nearby and grow it on the side of one of those towers, and just make sure they don't like light a fire for like a couple months while it's growing.
Sorry, guys, you
Your
can't practice
local
at your training
fire
ground. You
station
have to grow a carrot.
Get
Find
the
someone
fire
with a
Throw the world
involved.
record carrot. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Dude, it's orange
chimney.
like fire, but
I'm gonna have plenty. I'm gonna have a bunch of drawings like Looney Tune, like what is it, Roadrunner, Coyote and Roadrunner, like drawings, like Acme, like kind of drawings tomorrow. This is
oh my gosh, like you could drill. I'm like, what if you drilled into the ground and then you made the apparatus, right? And you drilled like a yeah, you got like a
because-
geologic sampler, like, and you create this like 50 long thing pipe. All right. Also, now we're gonna use the like loamiest soil ever. Just plop it in there.
Hire a well guy to come out. And
Yeah, a
drill
well.
a hole.
Drill some wells.
I've already
See,
got a well.
No, but then no.
No, but for the
because-
carrot,
Wait,
use
Yeah, but
But when
like-
you're trying to harvest the carrot, you got to
It's
cut it. It's better to cut it out, right? Up
Yeah.
there. So
I'm-
that would not work. 'cause then it
I'm
would be
afraid.
down
I'm
to
afraid
people.
someone else, like one of your competitors, may be listening to this and stealing one of our good ideas. So maybe we should.
Mm.
Well, let's hold off. And Ryan's like, no, they're not. They're not good. They're not good. Well, I've had you off about an hour, 18 minutes, but real quick,
Yeah.
Ryan, I know we talked about what you've done. Like, what is your next project? Like, I know the carrot. Like, what is the next
obviously
thing?
the carrot.
Can you do something over winter, like the giant cabbage or the giant Brussels sprout, the
I've
world's
played
biggest
with
Brussels
stuff.
sprout?
Oh yeah, I tried Brussels
It's just
sprouts.
a
I haven't
cabbage.
gotten into those yet.
They're so slow growing.
They are. They need a lot of nitrogen. Well, the cabbage does too. I place with stuff in the wintertime, just wintertime here is so strange because sometimes you get like a really mild winter. Like the past 2 winters was very mild, but we had 2 Arctic blasts. And had it not been for those Arctic blasts, I'd have been fine, right? But you get 2 or 3 days with -30, and well, ain't nothing surviving out there, right?
Right.
So it's so finicky, and it almost makes me not want to fool with anything in the wintertime. Just kind of like step back and say, okay, we'll make some better plans for early spring, late winter, early spring, and just plan out then, and maybe be able to plan out late February, because late February usually starts to lighten up around here and starts to get a little bit warmer. You have some cold days, but nowhere near as bad. You ain't got to worry about no Arctic blasts and stuff in late December, early January. So I've thought about fooling with that. I know I'm not allowed to grow in the house anymore. So yeah, that got nixed. So yeah, I guess that happens when your daughter turns 6 and mommy's like, okay, you have to go to your room now. So yeah, like we have literally spent 12 years since our first kid was born with kids in the bedroom.
Oh my
wow.
goodness.
Yeah. So because Jaden got put out at whenever Kira came along, and then right after, like both of them, Kira and Malachi were both born on my birthday a year apart.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So
wow,
That's really cool, actually.
It is very cool, but they've spent the past, Malachi's 5 and she's 6. So they've spent the past 6 years in there, and we've not had a break. Right.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, Malachi sleeps in Jaden's room, and stuff. So the boys are in there, and now Kira's got her room. She would have had her room a long time ago, but my 21-year-old stayed with us from like May until a couple weeks ago.
You have a 21-year-old? How old are you?
I'm 39.
Oh, you don't look 39, dude. Oh my God. I thought you were younger.
No,
that's
man.
crazy.
I'm getting old,
I
bro.
still win.
I'm there with you. I'm 38. I'm not far behind you.
All right, cool, man.
That's so cute. Y'all are all babies.
You can't be that old.
40.
Oh yeah, you're right there.
What's the point in being 40 if you can't make jokes like that?
That's true. But yeah, so he stayed with us all summer long and stuff, and yeah, so that's a whole different subject. But anyhow, so she's got to have her room, and I'm not allowed to really grow in here now, so I got to figure out where I can grow at and play around.
It's probably so much work with the pumpkins and everything that you need a break during the winter time. I can only imagine. I get burnt out too, and
me too.
Sometimes it's easier just to take a break.
At first, it was fun, and I was like, "Oh yeah, gotta grow," And then after all the stuff with all the photoshopping pictures and all the Guinness stuff, it's kind of like, man, I don't really like this, because I didn't start it to get into competitive growing, the
oh,
right?
Thank you.
Age is relative, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. But like I got into growing to provide for the kids, for us, right? To be able to eat healthier, to eat cleaner, and to know what's on my food,
Yeah.
And that just kind of snowballed over into giant growing is just a fun off spin, because the kids got happy. Because, Kira would have been 2 when I started doing this. And, Daddy, put me on the pumpkin, and she's 6. And she's like, Daddy, when's the pumpkin big enough for me to get on? She's like, I know I grew, but can I get on it yet? So to me, like after last year and all the drama with all that stuff, I was just like, you know what? This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I got into it for. I got into it to see smiles with my kids and make memories with my kids. And that's what's more important to me. So this stuff can just, whatever, like, that's why I said, if I grow a record, great, cool. If I don't, my kids have fun, and that means more to me than any of that other crap. So,
beautiful.
I think that you're right. Taking a break in the wintertime, there's nothing wrong with that.
How cool is that? Because you can get like you said, your daughter, like you got like 6 different pictures of her different ages on top of like side by side. Like that is so cute, man.
She loves
It is
doing it
super
too
cute.
because she comes every year. She's like, "Daddy, is it big enough yet? Is it big?" Because she knew, she'll know. She's like, "I know I grew. I know I weigh more, so I can't get on it as early as I did when I was littler,
Oh, that's
And
brilliant.
she's like, "Yeah, so can I get on her now?" And I'm like, "No, no, no." So the other day, I was like, "All right, it's 500 pounds. It should be able to hold you up now, without it caving in, So I set her up on top of it, and she's cheesing like, and I'm like, that's
so
what it's
cute.
about right there,
That's what it's about, man.
I was hoping you said that and not that. Oh, it was rotten, and she sat on it and she fell into it. Like that would be like, oh my god.
Oh no.
Also, would be a fun memory you could look back
Oh.
at.
Oh my god,
Nightmare fuel.
Has that happened to you before, where you picked up a pumpkin and the whole bottom was rotten and it's just like, oh
Yeah,
my god,
yeah,
is it devastating?
So it's happened twice. So the first year I grew in 21, that one that was measuring 850 and weighed 950 pounds. So I went, it was like a week before the North Carolina State Fair, and I was a shoe-in for second place, and that's $1 a pound at the North Carolina State Fair. Okay.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh yeah, come on money, and I go out there, and I had been drying the stem out because the stem had started splitting, but it didn't go into the cavity, right? It was just a stem. And I go out there every day and I feel around, and everything, and I felt around and my finger went right through.
Oh
Said,
no.
Oh man, I was heartbroken. I had a 581 pounder, but that ended up putting me in at like fourth, I think. Yeah, I think fourth place.
Oh no.
So
it's probably really gross too. Like when it
Oh
it's
yeah, it
nasty.
doesn't smell cute. It's
Oh,
real
it's
nasty in there.
nasty.
No, thank you.
So I actually got a video of me doing this. We hooked up the side by side to it. We pulled it out. Me and my wife did. Pulled it out to the front yard. I took a chainsaw to it, and well, first I let it set up there for like 2 or 3 days with no bottom. We drug the entire bottom out of it. There was nothing in the bottom.
Oh Lord.
So we lost all that weight. Then I let it sit there for like 2 or 3 days. I went out there with a chainsaw and cut it up into chunks that I could weigh on my scale, my bathroom scale, right? And I weighed it, and that totaled up 950 pounds. So I know that pumpkin was well over 1,000 pounds. So yeah, and then my son in 2022, Jaden, he's the older one. Well, he's a 12-year-old, but anyways, he grew one that was 575 pounds, I think is what it was.
Wow.
And I kept telling him, I said, Jaden, you got to put it up on sand and a foam board. Jaden, you got to put it up on sand. I'll help you if you want to do it, but I'm not doing it for you. Like I if they're going to grow, I'm not doing it for them. Like you're either going to be all in and do it yourself. I'll help you do it. But if you don't have no motivation and drive, I'm not going to beg you to do it,
Right.
So he's like, okay, Dad. Okay. Well, he finally comes to get me like, Dad, I'm ready to put that foam board under there. I said, Jaden, that pumpkin's 200 and some pounds. I can't lift that no more.
No.
I said, I can't lift it for you to put that. I said, you're on the ground now, boss. So yeah. So ended up getting 575 pounds. I had it sold to a guy that was going to take it to Dollywood with my 665. Okay. And Jaden was going to get to keep all the money off of it. Me and my wife, Annie, we go out there, we lift it up. I set it on a pallet with foam board on there. I go back out with the drone because it was late at night. I was using the drone to shine light on me so I could work, and
oh my gosh, that's a technology.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Correct, man. So
Hold the flashlight, drone.
Right. Nope, don't have to. Yep, drone.
Yeah.
So we go back down there and I got the drone hover and I said, is that pumpkin dripping, Annie? She said, I don't know. I think I go over and put my finger and it right through there.
Oh God.
Dog on it.
Dang.
So I go in, I said, well, let's cancel I was like, let's just cancel our trip then. And we won't go because I had both of them sold. I didn't really want to take the 665 anywhere anyways. I was just going to take it and sell it to him to pay for the trip in the hotel room. That way Jaden got to keep all of his money. I wasn't trying to make anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so tried to cancel the hotel reservations that we had just made like 30 minutes before, and we couldn't cancel them. So I had to load up the 665 and take it all the way down there. Ended up getting the Howard Deal Award out of it,
That's
and
awesome.
still sold it and still made money at the way off. But You know, that's never a for sure thing, you know, like making any money from the way off. But anyhow, yeah, so he didn't get to make any money off of that. And yeah, then he was just like, I don't think I want to grow anymore. And I'm like, nah, come on, man. So he didn't grow last year. Well, he did. He started some seeds. He put like 5 plants in the ground, and they started getting over into my stuff. And I said, Jaden, you gotta prune them back. You gotta pick one. Which one?
Yeah.
Finally became such a mess that Dad went out there and said, yank, yank,
Yeah.
yank, you're done, and pulled them all out of my way, because again, I'm not going to sit there and, you know, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. You're either going to be all in or you're not, but I'm not going to sit there and hold your
And that's
hand.
part of the learning process as a parent-child relationship. Like, if you're going to get a dog, you have to walk that dog and pick up its poop.
Exactly.
Like, that's part of the deal.
Right. I'm not one of these that are going to do it for you. Like, you're either going to be committed to it and do it. I'm just not. That's how I was raised. So that's how I raised
the theory is like it just shows accountability. So it teaches them accountability.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think next year he'll try to grow. He's got some interest in some different things like cantaloupes and the giant cantaloupes and everything. I mean, I got a buddy that lives in I think it's Kansas, and he grows like 70. He's got the world record, like 76 pounds for a cantaloupe.
I would love to see like a cornucopia of all these giant fruits together.
Really?
Like,
it would be so big.
Well,
there's
a picture. Show him that picture I got with all that stuff set up, Destin, if you can, real quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like a real big bright orange pumpkin with all kinds of hay bales.
Yeah. That was a good one. It was like such a,
because you're like, oh, past the cantaloupe.
So
Sure, I'll wheelbarrow it over.
Exactly.
The problem with it is that when they're all together, it doesn't look that different because they're all huge. You know,
I know they probably do. They put like the giant Adirondack chair out there with them too, so it's really throwing everything off.
Yeah,
right?
That's the problem is that they all look like normal size because they're all huge. That the perspective is off.
Right. Like the smallest
I need a
pumpkins,
banana for scale.
the smallest pumpkins there are like 50 to 75 pounds, if I remember.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Oh my gosh.
And then I got like the state record for the longboard. That thing was like 8 foot, 8 3/4 inches long. It's a gourd.
Gosh.
That's that. Yeah. And everybody asked me, is it a
Incredible.
green bean? So
Wow.
That's crazy, man.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I
How much
enjoy
fun.
sharing it with people. So
That's
wasn't a whole
freaking
lot of
cool,
content
man.
this year on it because there just wasn't much to show. And my wife was like, look, I need a break from canning because you've really put me through the ringer the past 3 summers, and I need a break. So please do not overgrow, because usually I grow like over 100 varieties of tomatoes, like 80 some varieties of peppers, and I'll bring in 75 plus pounds of peppers a week, and she's like, please don't.
I need I need more land.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I do all this on an acre.
I'm on a quarter though.
Yeah. So it can be done.
It can be. Yes. It can be. If your spouse will let you take up all the grass.
I begged mine to let me do it. She's like, the kids got to have somewhere to play. And I was like, look, they can play in a beautiful fruit and vegetable forest if you just let me do it.
Yeah.
They need grass, Ryan. I'm like, all right, okay.
Hey,
I'm the one that mows the grass.
I'm gonna show this last one, and then I know Phil's got to run here pretty quick. I don't know if I can show it. Dang it. Okay, it's screwing up.
Is it me sitting naked on that one? I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're gonna find that.
I didn't get that one, Ryan. Oh my God. Well, hey, I know Phil's got to run real quick. Ryan, let everybody know where they can find you, what kind of events you got coming up, or if you're just chilling or whatever, but let them know where they can get the seeds and everything.
Okay, so if you want seeds, you can message me on Facebook or Instagram, even TikTok, because I got TikTok too. All my videos are posted up on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Rumble, and did I say YouTube? If I didn't say YouTube, that's where I do. So YouTube gets a lot of long form videos, and then everything else gets, of course, short stuff. If you got any questions, you can always email me at babydrill2119@yahoo.com. Just be sure you put in a subject title, like, you got a question about something, or if you want to email me about seeds, put seeds in there. That way I don't think it's trash or something spammy and toss it out. But yeah, I mean, I'll answer any of your questions. I'll help you any way I can. If you want to grow and want to go to a way off, I can tell you where to go and do that at. There's way off in West Virginia this week. Or not this week, but next weekend. Then there's one. The Virginia State Fair is the 24th or something like that. It's a Saturday it's in September, and then after that you got one in Yadkin Valley the same weekend, which is in North Carolina. And then you got Spring Hope, which is in North Carolina, and the North Carolina State Fair. So those are all the ones that are close to me. But I can get you if you need a way off schedule or whatever, I can show you that so you can go and either be a spectator or go and turn something in that you want to see if it how much it weighs. So, but yeah, I welcome all the questions and everything. And if you need help, I'm more than glad to help anybody out.
Fantastic, dude. Yeah, I'll probably have to email you with some questions, some seeds and stuff like that.
Hey, no problem, man. If y'all want seeds too, just let me know. I'll send y'all some.
Fantastic. Well, Des, I appreciate you coming on. Des, what do you got coming on, and what you got going on, and where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Gardening with Des everywhere, and I'm sure I'll be talking about some critters and flowers. And I am actually feeling a full garden refresh coming on. So
yes,
literally, I'm thinking about taking out all of my raised beds.
Ooh.
And redoing everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's extreme, but we got to do it.
I was gonna have to probably do that if my fence, the whole thing fell down. But since I just got to replace a couple planks, I'm good. But yeah, no, I got too much soil to do that. No, but
Me too.
But I'm getting my third. I'm getting my third wind for fall gardening. I'm getting my third wind. A lot of people think the spring gardening is the best. Fall gardening is best. It's less pest pressure. It's less heat.
Yeah.
You don't got to water as often. You can grow almost everything that you can grow in the spring and the fall. So pay attention to all 4 of these channels, and you'll be seeing some fall gardening going on.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Mr. Phil's Figs, what you got, dude? I know you got Fig-a-Palooza coming up soon, right?
I got Fig Palooza coming up on the 21st, 22nd. Sorry, guys. Whichever day is Saturday. And that'll be really fun. I'll be talking about figs and growing figs. And then actually this weekend, if anyone's local that's listening to this here in Wilmington, the Hobby Greenhouse Club is hosting their fall plant sale on Metz Ave here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then October 5th, I'll be in Texas.
Figtoberfest. Man, I'm
those
so
are my 3
excited.
events I
need to book a hotel or something.
You come on down, and I think you need to come Thursday night so we can go to, or drive in Friday morning so we can go to Moody Gardens.
Yes, I'm very motivated.
Yes, that's gonna be awesome.
Then in October 29th, I'll be with Ryan on Heavenly Hills Homestead. Which way am I pointing?
That's right.
Man.
My bad.
No, you're good. Yeah, and then Enoch is gonna. I'm gonna be back on Enoch's thing, and he was asking for your information, Phil, and I gave him your email. So Enoch will be in touch. And hey, shout out to Enoch for putting me and Ryan and all of us together. Enoch, make sure you check out the Urban Gardener.
Enoch's really cool guy. Enoch's Fascia, the Urban Gardener Fascia.
Right.
Yes,
we'll bring it all together.
And all right, man, you need to get together and go surfing, man.
Yeah,
see,
dude,
you got someone. You got someone now.
Anytime, man. I got you. I got a whole quiver of boards to rip.
Awesome, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, and y'all better record that as well. You better record that.
I'll let my wife sit back on the beach because she won't get in the water. So.
Oh, it's okay. Just tell them there are sharks in the water.
Right. Well, she knows because we went down to South Carolina back in July, and I caught one of them. So
there you go.
I was like, see, look how close we were out there in the water to them.
Well, I'm Texas Garden Guy, and you can find me at Texas Garden Guy everywhere. Texas Garden Guy hats. I don't put ads in these live streams anymore, so support the channel by buying an awesome Texas Garden Guy hat. The new foamies came out today. I'm working with Jeremy Trotsky, Dirty Punk Gardening's wife.
Yep.
She's doing the embroidery for me on the hats, and we just did the foamies. They are available now. I love foamy trucker hats. Those are cool. So go check that out. I put the link in the bio. Go support everybody in the live, and we will see y'all next week on the garden party. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on.
Yeah.